At home, without the help of an autoclave, you can cook various canned foods, for example, mackerel in oil in a saucepan, which turns out not only more fragrant and tastier than store-bought, but also cheaper. To prepare such a fish preparation, you will need the mackerel itself. You can use both fresh and frozen fish, vegetable oil with spices, water and a jar with a screw cap. The preservation process is actually not complicated, but long. The mackerel cut into pieces is placed in a jar with spices, salt, vegetable oil, and water are added, after which they are immediately tightly screwed with a lid and sterilized for 6 to 7 hours. As a result, very tender and delicious homemade canned mackerel fish in oil are obtained. First of all, defrost the mackerel if you use freshly frozen fish. If you are going to cook canned food from fresh mackerel, feel free to skip this stage. It is best to defrost the fish at room temperature so that it thaws evenly. Putting frozen mackerel in warm water for faster defrosting is not worth it, because when slicing the fish can spill. After the mackerel is defrosted, carefully cut off the head, all fins and tail. Take out the insides and rinse thoroughly inside. Be sure to remove the black film. If this is not done, the canned food will then be bitter. Cut the prepared fish carcass into medium pieces. Tip: to cut the fish well, place the cleaned and washed mackerel carcass in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes so that it freezes slightly, and then carefully cut into portions. Sterilize a half-liter jar cans over steam, then put peas of pepper, fragrant and black, bay leaf into the container. Put the chopped pieces of mackerel tightly in a jars with spices. Next, add a teaspoon, with a slide, of coarse table salt to the fish. Then pour in 40 milliliters of vegetable oil, odorless. After the oil, add water to the jar, depending on the fullness of the container with fish. 50 to 100 milliliters of boiled water may be needed. Filling the glass container with liquid up to the shoulders. Twist the jar of mackerel in oil tightly with a lid. Place it in a saucepan with warm water. The water should completely cover the jar. Be sure to cover the bottom and put it to be sterilized. Sterilize canned food over low heat for 6 to 7 hours. Be sure to monitor the liquid level in the pan. The water should completely cover the jar, periodically topping up the water. After the allotted time for sterilization, turn off the stove and leave the canned food in the pan until it cools down completely, and only when the jar cools down completely, remove it for further storage in a cold place. It is advisable to store mackerel in oil for no more than a year.